So as we start a nice restorative practice today, let's bring our awareness to our breath. And remember, we want to stay as comfortable and warm as possible. So if you'd like, you're always welcome to bring your hands to your belly or to the heart. As you get comfortable here, I will just begin with a little bit of our chant and our intention. Taking a nice long breath in through the nose. Notice a really nice long breath out through the nose. And taking a moment as you get more comfortable in this posture today, and set an intention for your practice. Feel yourself beginning to let go of any tension in the face, the jaw, the eyes. Releasing tension in our throat. Let's relax our shoulders a little bit. And maybe a deeper breath up into the chest. Do this tiny back bend, noticing how it feels in the chest, in the belly. And slowly bringing your awareness down into the hips and the legs, feeling the heaviness of the posture today. Is it possible to take the breath into any tight areas that you're feeling this evening? And visualize a release of that tension. And if you're finding any tension today, just tell yourself, I do not need to hold this in my body anymore. I do not need to hold this in my body anymore. And bringing your awareness back to your body for just a few moments with the breath. And just very gently and mindfully just begin to stretch the legs straight out in front of you to release the hips. If you need a little bit of movement, rocking a little your hips from side to side, please do so. Staying with your breath. So when you feel ready, you're just going to keep your upper body exactly where it is and just bend the knees so your feet are as wide as the mat. Beautiful. And just let your knees gently drop down to the right. So they're really wide. Yeah, nice and wide as the mat. Just let them drop all the way to the right as far as they'll go. So you start to feel a stretch in the upper hip. Maybe you stop movement with a blanket underneath the knee, one of the knees, or both knees. Maybe you just let gravity stretch that open. And again, just let your arms be open to the sides. Feel a little bit of a side stretch to that left side of your body. And for those of you who want just a little bit more, but remember we are here for a little bit, you can take that right foot and just place it right on top of the opposite knee to give it a little bit of a weight. Just allow that to stretch just a little bit more. Good. Taking your time, let's breathe into this entire left side of the body, softening the shoulder. Notice where you feel the discomfort. See if you can gently release that in some way and become more comfortable with the pose. Your one foot can be underneath the top knee as well. If that helps give you a little bit of a block or a little bit of a support. Then your next exhale, just feel the release of tension from this whole left side of the body, starting with the shoulder, working your way all the way down through the hip. Inner groin. Thigh. Noticing the knee, the feet. If there's a spot or two that you found tension, let's remind ourselves Do not need to hold this in my body today. I do not need to hold this in my body today. Let's take another deep breath in here. Being mindful as we inhale back to the center. Taking our feet again as wide as the mat. Adjusting anywhere you need to. And then when you're ready, go ahead and let those knees gently fall to the left. Beautiful. Making any adjustments for this left side of the body. So again, you can put one foot on top of that top knee and just give it a little bit more stretch. Or the foot can go underneath the knee if you need a little less. Good. Feeling the weight of gravity in this pose. It definitely helps. So let's breathe into this right side. Feel the right hip. Let's relax the right shoulder. And breathing down the right side of the body all the way down to the butt, the hip, the inner groin. Noticing the thigh, the knee. Make any small adjustments you may need, and then see if you can relax into it just a little bit more. Let's bring our awareness back to the room, to our deeper breath. And when you're ready, you can slowly release this pose and just stretch the legs out in front of you once again. Releasing feet and hips, making any movements that you need to. Good. Take a few moments there. I'm just going to adjust and get ready for the next pose for you. Good. Take a couple of moments. Nice full breaths. Gently allow yourself to roll over to your side. Before we come into the next pose, we'll just come onto hands and knees for a few moments and do a little bit of our cat-cow movement just to stretch the spine. And you can take this movement in any direction that you wish. You check in with those hips. And how's the breath? Nice and soft, easy breath. All right. So you're probably familiar with locust pose. We do it in harder classes. It's a back bend in our belly. We're going to try that with the bolster. So there's a couple of different variations. I'm going to have a blanket over here where my head is going to go. And I'm going to take my legs. So my knees are off and right up against the bolster and come on down onto the belly. So my head is going to be just supported by my hands. Now that would be just a level 1 pose right there. So just the feet are up a little bit. If you want to, you can go up even further and take the entire leg up onto the bolster so that the feet are kind of hanging off the edge of the bolster. And you can feel that in your low back, so that's a little bit more of a back bend. And your head can come straight down onto the blanket. Or if you want, you can do a little bit more of what we would call the locust pose, which our arms are at our sides, our heads turned to one side, perhaps, or you could even do it with your head down on the blanket. And you can just try this. You're going to feel this little stretch here in the low back. So making yourselves aware of where you're going to feel that movement and breath. Good. Let your head be comfortable. It doesn't matter if it's to the side or if your forehead is to the earth. And become aware of the hips and the belly. Is it possible to soften hips and belly, lower ribs into the earth? Just remember, the higher your legs go on the bolster, the more stretch you're going to get in the low back. So if you can take a big back bend, you can bring your feet higher to the top of that bolster. And just notice the shoulders. If you're able to bring the arms at your sides, maybe shoulders begin to relax into the earth. We'll begin to notice if you feel any tension anywhere. And remind yourself, as you did before, I do not need to hold this in my body today. Take a couple of deep breaths in, bringing your awareness back to that beautiful breath. Beautiful. And you can exit that pose however it feels easy. It's not a real easy pose to exit. Take your time. We're going to come into child's pose, wide leg child's pose. You may want to use your bolster underneath your belly. I'm just going to use some blankets. So when we find our wide leg child's pose, we bring the big toes together behind us and either blankets or bolster underneath the belly. And I'm going to say a couple of things. You can either have your arms out in front, your head turned to one side, or maybe you want your head on your hands. But prop yourself up so the belly is relaxed and comfortable, and you can begin to feel that release. So the low back comes down as close as you can towards the heels. It's a real simple pose. We do it all the time, but as we stay in it longer, there's quite a few benefits to the body. Digestively, our body relaxes. Low back, kidneys, liver, all the digestive organs. So that softens and relaxes our low back. Good, and make note of how you are feeling in your child's pose. Make any adjustments that you need to relax a little bit more. Bring some awareness of your breath into your low back today, into those hips. You begin to feel gravity as it relaxes your belly down into the earth, relaxes the shoulders, the hips, and the low back. Taking a nice full breath. Noticing how you're feeling. As you begin to come out of that pose, it's nice and easy just to come onto hands and knees. And we can do a little bit of the cat movement. Maybe noticing our breath is so much deeper now. Beautiful. So we just want to spend the last minutes of class elevating our feet higher than our heart. So I'm just going to use the bolster that we have been using and just bring my legs on the bolster. So I'm laying the opposite way of what you did in locust pose. And I'm going to take a blanket underneath my head and maybe even a blanket over me if you're a little chilly today. So maybe the feet are just heart level or a little higher than the heart. That would be perfect. And maybe your hands are on your belly today. Maybe they're out to the sides. Maybe they're on your heart. If you have an eye bag, this is a great time to put an eye bag over your eyes. It doesn't have to be an eye bag. It could be a sweatshirt or a little blanket. Good, let's check in. And we allowed ourselves to completely relax in our class today, or have we found some places in our body where we're still feeling tight or holding on to some tension? Let's check in with those spots. Breathe a little deeper. Remind yourself you do not need to hold tension in those spots today. And see if you can allow yourself to relax a little bit deeper into the earth. Feeling supported, connected, grounded. Take a nice deep breath in. Notice your energy this evening. Remembering your intention as you began class today. If you can comfortably, you can draw your knees in towards your chest, rolling over to your right side. When you feel comfortable, please come up to join me in a nice comfortable seat. As we bring our hands to our heart, honoring all those teachers who have come before us in this beautiful practice, giving gratitude for the time you have spent on your mat today. Take that peace with you. Let's just chant one final Om together. Deep breath in. Namaste.